And joining us now in the studio is a former spokesperson of the House of Representatives. Speaking of Eseme Eyibo, and he's going to help us dissect the issue and the kind of course, leadership that we should expect, looking as the 10th Assembly, of course, will take over sometime in June. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you most sincerely.
I know your forte is, you have a knack for the National Assembly in total, but let's start with the Senate. We'll come to House of Reps, which was your place. As it stands right now, the beginning of the 9th Assembly saw an adjustment to the rule book in terms of, who can emerge, especially as presiding officers, where you have to be a returning legislator before you can get that. But I want to get your reaction to the fact that we're seeing even first-time legislators aim for the highest position and its implication, really.
I think first and foremost, the problem we are having in this country is the general perception of developing personalities instead of the institutions. Because ordinarily, we will ask ourselves, what has been the intention of the Constitution? If you read Section 4, Sub 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, it is clear that the legislative powers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall rest in a Senate and a House of Representatives. Legislative powers. So in democracy, we are living under the rule of law. So when they said legislative powers, it means the powers of the law, the origin and the root of the law is in the National Assembly.
Right.
If you do a community reading of that section and Section 60, that empowers the National Assembly to make its own rules. That is the origin of the Senate book order and the Green Chambers order and all of that.
Senate standing order.
The standing orders, So if you look at that, you will know that the Senate President, for example, is the chairman of the National Assembly. With the emphasis on the Senate and the House of Representatives, it therefore means that the quality and capacity of the person to preside as the Senate President, of course the chairman of the National Assembly, must be beyond imaginations. And what we have to look at, over time, we've been going through some sort of evolution to the extent that if not the Nigerian people in the 2023 election, we will have had a situation where the Senate will have been converted into a rehabilitation center for some group of persons in this country. So I am saying that it's come a time for you and I, Nigerians generally, the political parties, to determine what kind of National Assembly do we deserve or are we desiring. And if we answer that question, the kind of National Assembly we're desiring, that will guide the party. I'm very sure, and I can assure you, that APC is going to throw up a very strong leadership of the National Assembly, to the extent that whoever will emerge, and that is already a prophecy foretold, or who will emerge. And when that happens, the character of APC and the capacity, as we speak, to be able to vindicate the massive votes that the Nigerians gave to the political party is not going to be in doubt.
Okay, now
APC he hasn't really answered that question, Tolu, because the question I was asking you, yes, you speak of the fact that the will of the people should superintend over everything else, but let's not forget there are rules that apply when it comes to choosing presiding officers. So I'm asking you, so let me ask you directly now. So on the day of inauguration, is it the Senate or the Reps rules that applies on that inauguration day, and who adopts it? Or is it whatever the members of that chamber decide to do?
No, of course.
On the day
the one of the Senate is the decision of the senators, and the one of the House of Reps is the decision of the members of the House of Representatives. If you don't mind, I can give you an example, and my example is not going to be predicated on any bigotry. For example, a legislature who presides over a legislature should be able to understand what kind of relationship that the Constitution intended to exist between the executive and the legislature. And you have three legs: the legislature, the judiciary, and of course the executive. And when one of those legs is sick, the country is in trouble. So if you look at all laws, while you are talking about the issue of ranking, that everybody has that right on that ranking to go. What is this ranking? Coming back again. okay, that is not enough. For example, we will need somebody, possibly has been a minister, he has had an idea of the executive content, he has been able to exhibit the management of the executive and the legislature at the subnational. He also has capacity to be able to bring together the various intrigues occasioned by political party management in the National Assembly. And when you talk about political party management, you are talking about the difference between politics and governance. Politics and governance. So the moment you are admitted on oath, you're no longer a member of a political party. You represent your constituents, you represent Nigeria, because the oath you are taking is the oath of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the ranking person shouldn't be enough. There shouldn't be too much emphasis on ranking. Ranking fine as an internal regulation. But when you look at, this person is not only going to participate in the issue of only the members. What about the issue of appropriation? He should be able to open his eyes. What about the issue of oversight and a lot of that? So you need a strong person. If you want me to mention names, I can go ahead. I would not.
That would not be necessary.
Okay, that would not.
56 members, because you have just made a case for somebody who is well experienced in governance, coming from maybe the executive.
Not maybe executive, but have experience in the executive, either as a minister, of course, as a minister, like that. To be able to understand. Yes,
that's well understood. Okay. Now you made a categorical statement about APC bringing up or
having the capacity and the character.
I get you. I get you. Now, 56 senators from the APC, 32 from PDP, 7 from the LP. When you look at alignment and realignment, what happens if PDP is able to win over some of these other senators?
I think you are talking about political party. I told you that the moment an individual is admitted on oath, he is representing governance and not a political party.
I got that.
So there are going to be cases where some people even went to Labour Party or PDP or SDP or any party because of the outcome of the various political parties' primaries, because of the intrigues. They went into where they can easily secure the ticket, or there are some political parties that they put a price on their forms. You were unable to afford, you now decide to go somewhere to go and test your popularity. And by the time you pass, the chicken must surely come home to roost. So I can tell you that it has nothing to do with the tack of a political party. You will be very shocked. You will be very shocked that it's not going to take the next 2 months after inauguration. You will see people from some of those
less popular parties.
No, a better pass my neighbor's party.
Well, there's no party that is a better party. You keep saying this, and I'm listening to you. But we've seen the intrigues that play out when it comes to, the National Assembly and the influence of the party leadership in terms of choosing the leaders of the National Assembly. Now you're playing that part down.
No.
But beyond that, you'd speak about the Senate, but let's also look at the House of Representatives. Going with what Tolu did say, the House of Representatives is a bit more dire in terms of, if you look at the number of the APC representatives and that of the opposition. If the opposition can galvanize and come together, they might also still even challenge the ruling party.
What you need to know
for the speaker.
There must be something. There must be the basis to galvanize.
Right.
So there must be a nexus that will be able to bring all of you together to galvanize. I was a spokesperson of the House of Representatives, so I was in the center of the management of most of these intrigues or interests. But I can tell you, and take it to the bank, it's only under a very weak political party leadership, whether PDP, APC, that you can witness any of those things. But as we speak today, APC has the character and capacity to put together a political party management such that it will be very attractive to people of the other political parties, and which may not in any way instigate those fears you are having. I can tell you that. By the time you put APC on the table, if you look at its leadership, it's very stable. Very experienced. The chairman of the APC is a former senator. The secretary of the APC is a former senator. You have a lot of them all over. And they understand the import, the intention of democracy when they brought in legislature to the table. And they're well versed in that. They understand the gamuts of the leadership, the interplay of those forces.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, talking about the gamuts now and the gambits as well. Now, the president-elect has come from the southwest, while the vice president-elect has come from the northeast. What if they now decide to zone it to any of the other 4 geopolitical zones? What happens? What do you see playing out?
Well, what I think I would like to say, what I want to tell you now is going to be a prophecy foretold. And it will come to pass. You know,
don't mention anybody's name.
I'm not mentioning anybody's name. Trust me, I won't mention anybody's name. But I will be able to give you in-depth analysis, content. I will develop a content to the extent that you yourself will be convinced, you yourself will begin to prophesy on the person who will emerge in that circumstance. Now, you have the president from the south, southwest. Yeah. You have the vice president from the northeast. Now, the issue is, if you follow the political history of this country over time, you realize there's a model where the president, the Senate president, the deputy speaker would naturally, like presently, is from the north. Mm-hmm. Now, presently too, the vice president, the speaker, and the deputy Senate president from the south. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you want to look at all of this, now, by the time you want to talk about zoning, Senate president, for example, if you are taking it to the south, you are taking it out of the southwest. So the only 2 zones now left will be the southeast and the south-south. The southeast have had 5 Senate presidents across all the states in the south-south. Ebonyi had His Excellency Pius Anyim. Enugu has His Excellency Ken Namani. Abia has His Excellency Wabara. Imo had His Abia Wabara. Mm-hmm. Then Evans and Werem, Imo. So all the states in the south-south have had a round
southeast, you mean?
Southeast place. Mm-hmm. So the next thing you want to think about is, where should this go? Because the principle of justice espouses that to every man his own due. So what is the justice in the issue of the zoning of the Senate presidency to the south? The natural place is going to be south-south, because we've never had one in this democracy. Some people want to talk about the issue of NPN in those days of Joe Wires, but from 1999 till date, the Southeast have had 5, each of the states taking the turn. So I think it would just be sensible, and I know as sensible as the leadership of the party and other Nigerians are, they will sit it to the south side.
We'll wait and see how that plays out.
Yeah.
But for now, a good place for us to say thank you so much for your in-depth analysis tonight, and of course helping us look ahead to the 10th Assembly, as of course they will be inaugurated. Well,
I will not be disappointed.
Eseme Eyibo, of course, former spokesperson of the House of Representatives. Thank you for joining us tonight
I really
on
appreciate
the program.
Yeah,